Keeping your pride and joy perfect is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start with Slick Mist Speed Wax. Simply mist on and wipe off for professional detail or shine. For your tires and trim, there's Lucas Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Spray on and wipe off for better than new look. Then finish her with Lucas Slick Mist Interior Detailer. Just spray and wipe. Easy. Use Lucas Slick Mist Car Care products and she'll never look better. Fast, easy, and professional. Really, it's sort of like having an extra set of hands. Or 3.
Morning everyone, we're down here on the F4 America's grid, and as you can see it's a massive grid of cars. Now I just want to put this in perspective because one of the most popular motor racing series at the moment in America is Drive to Survive, and everybody says it's just a wow. We watch all these $40 million racing drivers go round and round and we hear about their lives. That's not Drive to Survive. This is Drive to Survive, and this is where it begins for all these youngsters. And that's why I love this championship so much, is because this is where the future stars. Lando Norris started in an F4 car exactly the same as this. Daniel Ricciardo started in a Formula BMW, almost identical. So this is where it all begins. But I tell you what, why I say this is Drive to Survive is there's a field of over 30 cars here and they're all trying to be the top man. Jay Howard is running one of the teams here. Jay is from my hometown of, well, England anyway, at least. But Jay, I'm just saying, Drive to Survive, forget Formula One, forget all the big money. This is what real stuff is. This is where the next Lewis Hamilton's going to be found, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is obviously a first step for the kids that come out of karting, or even kids that don't have a karting background. You know, come here and start learn all the techniques and everything that they need to develop to move to the highest levels of motorsports, whether it's F1, IndyCar, whatever it is. This is where it starts.
Who should we be looking out for? Jay Howard Development have got plenty of drivers.
All of our drivers. All of them.
All of them. All right, come with me. I want to point out one particular driver who's just got to the grid, Hannah Greenmeyer. See if you can have a quick word. Hannah, how do you feel?
I'm good. I'm pretty nervous, but I'm ready to get this race underway and hopefully do better than yesterday.
Well, listen, best of luck. She has come straight from karting. That's where it all begins. And this is Drive to Survive. F4 America's about to get underway. Carl Bennett won the first race. Who's going to win the second? It's anybody's game. That's it. Back to you, Ben.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Another fantastic grid walk from Jonathan Green. I love watching his grid walks. I'm joined here with Callum Hedge from Auckland, New Zealand, who raced yesterday in the FR race. So Callum, as they're here at the grid, what's your thought process? What's your heart doing? What's the adrenaline like?
Yeah, well, for me, this is the most nerve-wracking part of the event. You're sitting on the grid, waiting to get going. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay, so you can wait there a bit longer than you'd like to. But the idea there is just to stay focused, stay calm, and think about that race start.
And you can see we're looking at the front ends of these Formula 4 cars. They're a little bit different than the front end of your car. These Formula 4 cars have one wing, have a little bit less downforce. They don't have quite the motor. But did you come up through the ranks through Formula 4 into a Formula 3 FR car?
No, for me, no. I actually don't really get to drive a single-seater very often. So just recently, Formula Regional in New Zealand, formerly known as TRS. That was the first proper season I've actually done in a single-seater race car. So I've never even driven a Formula 4 car, so I'm probably not the person to ask on how they go.
Now that is cool. And this is what Jonathan said, like the true Drive to Survive. This is 31 cars, 31 drivers, all trying to make a name for themselves, to move up to possibly FR, and then possibly into F2, F1, IndyCar. The sky is the limit. We've had a lot of FR, F4 drivers go into sedan racing. or Trans Am racing. And really, the sky's the limit, but this is so great for driver development. You can see this driver here in the number 48 going out on sticker tires. Jimmy Lockhart, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with VRD, and they're releasing grid. So pretty soon we're going to walk you through the grid as they come around NOLA Motorsports Park. As soon as they register, 31 cars will take the green flag. They're coming into their formation lap now. I'll walk us through. I can't go in grid order, so we'll go in driver car number order. In number 1, we've got Everett Stack. Car number 2, Landon Matriano. Car 3, Michael Boyadzis. Car 4, Dane Scott. Car 5, Tanner DeFabus. Car number 6, Frankie Mossman. Car number 7, Eric Wisniewski, who was in our driver development program last year. So great to see Eric Wisniewski back with us. Carl Bennett, who was in the booth with us yesterday, number 9. Daniel Cara from Woodlands, Texas, number 10. Cole Kleck at number 11. Garrett Detman, number 12. 14, Alex Benovitz. 16, Jesse Lacey. 17, Tyke Durst, who's back with us in the series. Great to have him with us, Ganella Racing. Matthew Higgins in the number 18. Number 19, Michael Costello. Number 20 is Logan Adams. 22, Aiden Potter. 27, Patrick Woods Todd. 29, Keke Huanio. Sorry, Keke, I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. Number 30, Lewis Hodgson. 31, Titus Sherlock, who's back with us. Great to have Titus back. Had a great showing with us last year at COTA. Bacon Zelenka, number 45. 48, Jimmy Lockhart. 51, Nico Ambiato. 74, Hannah Greenmeyer, who we spoke to at the grid. 83, Christopher Parrish. 88, Robert Torres. 91, Luciano Martinez. Alec Berg back with us in the 08, and Madison Oust back with us in the 09. So now, going back and forth like this, they're just warming their sticker hand-cooked tires. What else are they looking for? What are they looking for in their gauges, Callum?
Sorry, can you ask the question again?
What are they looking for in their gauges? What are they looking for on this formation lap? Are you talking to your team?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the cars are out on new tyres this one. So on the hand-cooked tyre, you've got to get a lot of temperature in it before the race. So these guys will be working pretty hard to make sure they get the stickers off, get that mould release off, so that they have some grip for the first laps. But it's also quite important to not go a bit too aggressive, so that you don't take some life out of the tyre for the long race we've got ahead.
Mate, you can't be throwing gauges at him. You got to speak the language of the Kiwi.
What's that?
So, Caleb, you don't give it full gentle right now. You just hang back, look at the systems check, and do all the right things before you go out, right?
One of the cars took out one of my signs.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Driving around with it.
We'll see. Yeah, they're driving around with it. That's going to be a little bit more downforce, more than they bargained for, probably. But Jonathan, I don't know how you got up here so quick. And I know you've been so excited. He actually texted me a couple weeks ago about Callum Hedge coming and what we can do. So excited. But you see this car right here. It's got my blue sign on the front of it.
That's no good.
Oh, he just pulled into pit lane.
Well, I saw him slowing down to try and get it to come off with a bit of wind brushing on the front of it. So we'll see what the go is when they get it off in the pits.
I got a question for you, Callum. What kind of grip is there out there? The conditions pretty similar to yesterday. What kind of a track is it compared to what you've driven before?
For me, it's obviously quite a different style of track compared to New Zealand. It's very flat here, but there's a lot of bumps as well. And the surface is quite old. It's reminding me a little bit of Taupo, the last round we had in TRS. The surface is very abrasive, very old. So there's a little bit of tyre degradation, but we'll have to see how these green tyres go for the F4 drivers.
All right, well, as you can see, they are lining up now. Jess Lacey. Is it Jesse or Jess Lacey? I'm never quite sure. But anyway, I know one thing. He was a Ferrari Academy winner back in Australia in 2021. The Aussie is here. So it's great to have Kiwis and Aussies. We've got Aussies out on the grid. We've got Kiwis in the booth. There's a host of Kiwis. There must be about 8 Kiwis racing in single-seaters in America right now. So that's just why we've got Callum up here. There's no question. They're eating something right. Away we go then for the start of race 2, and somebody moving very quickly. One of the Jay Howard cars in the midfield moving right across the track there, but it looks as though everything's A-OK as we head out. JB Lockhart is the man who's setting the pace at the moment, diving into the big machine Spike Coolers turn 1. And a nice clean start through the 19-minute race to go. This is race 2. Carl Bennett won the first race, and a host of cars trying to get position here early on with the tyres probably not up to perfect temperature yet, as Michael Costello, that was one of the men that Jay Howard, who I was speaking to, one of his drivers, he said, I said, who should I watch out for? And he said, Costello. Costello's one to watch. So there you go. Down towards the back of the circuit once again. Whoa. Not a lot of grip out there, Callum. I saw you throw the wheel out there a couple of times yesterday.
Yeah, we were on Struggle Street yesterday. We had a couple of issues with the engine, and half the front wing fell off. So the front wing basically looked like the front wing of the F4 car. So we're missing a couple of percent of downforce. But that's all tuned up today, and hopefully we can go a bit better.
Shocker Street is not like Easy Street. Shocker Street is not a good day at the office.
Yeah, Struggle Street, no good. When you're on Struggle Street, it's not been a good day.
Have you seen any gators yet?
Seen any gauges?
Gators.
Gators? I'm still not convinced on your whole alligator theory.
He doesn't believe me. Tell him. Oh, we've got a big talking to gators. We've got 2 cars stuck out on track. One of them badly damaged. The other is the 83, I believe, and that could be
Parish.
Yeah, Christopher Parish. So that's going to bring out the safety car. Sure enough, it does. Not a surprise to see the safety car out then. And we come to a grinding halt in this 19-minute race. And it has been red flagged because it was quite a nasty incident. And I think there's a fair bit of damage out there. And I'm not so sure of the procedure, but I'll ask the man who was right on time for the driver's briefing. What happens now then, Callum?
Well, I actually haven't done a red flag in the United States before. But in New Zealand,
on the spot.
In New Zealand, we have a red flag control line, so we normally all stop on the side of the track and wait for the incident to clear. That's generally the procedure.
To be honest,
and then they make sure the drivers are okay. That's the most important thing.
Well,
and it looks like
both
those
drivers
two are all
out.
good.
That's good news.
So you can see there that one of my brake markers got hit at the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 1. And our red flag procedure here is they're going to follow the pace car into pit lane, and some cars might go to the wall. Some cars will line up in what's called the hot pit lane, so those cars can get released first. If the driver has a little bit of an adjustment to make, or the team does, they go to the wall, but they will be released last.
Yeah, it's also at the discretion of Scott Goodyear, the race director. And he'll decide exactly how he wants to play this. Like you say, we can line them up, line astern, or they can line up in the pit lane and effectively just wait. So this is a hard time for any driver or any race where you have to sort of stop-start it like this, because you've got all the adrenaline going, you've got ready for the race, and then suddenly you've come to a complete halt. Great field, though, eh? Great field, Ben. And I was looking this morning. We've got so many great stories, both in Callum Hedges' class in FR and also here. We're really starting to attract international drivers too. Callum's got a teammate that's from Mexico. We've got a couple of Aussies in the field. Got some great Americans coming up, trying to chase the likes of Kyle Kirkwood and Dakota Dickerson, Hunter Yaney now in FIA F3.
Yeah. So I'm hearing word from race control that it is just a double yellow, not a red flag. So they're going to follow the pace car around. The starter was showing a red flag, and then once the pace car came out, I think they went to double yellow.
Okay. Well, that's good news for the actual race itself, because for the drivers, the one thing you don't want to do is stop, because it gets hot very quickly, right?
Yeah,
we did see both drivers get out of the car and get into the truck.
Yeah, it can be a bit claustrophobic when you're sitting there on the red flag. We had one at Taupo, and we sat there for about 20 minutes on the grid. Sometimes you end up needing to pee, sometimes you get a bit sweaty, and it also kind of just ruins your rhythm and routine of the race. So it's always nice that you can keep going.
Callum, while we've got you under caution here, let's hear a little bit about you. I know you had Shocker Street, as you said yesterday, but I know how quick you are, and I know you'll get to grips with it. What was the problem yesterday, both in qualifying and the race?
In qualifying, we had a little bit of an engine issue. We're down a little bit on power, and we thought we fixed it for the race, but then something still wasn't quite right. So they've changed the engine overnight in my car. That was the decision the team made for me, and also the elements on the front wing. Just one of them fell off, so we're missing 5 to 10% of the downforce on the front of the car, which is a bit of a shame. But we know what the car can do. We know that we can be quick. We're fast all through the practice, So we're pretty confident we can set a good time in race 2 and hopefully be up the front for race 3.
And just let everybody know what your year is going to be. It's pretty impressive. You're going to the airport straight after your last race today, heading back to home and then on to Australia, because you've already finished one championship. You started the one here in America, and you're off to Australia to start another one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a full-on schedule. TRS at the start of the year with 5 weekends in a row was very intense, and then we got about 2 to 3 weeks off. So that was very nice to just to relax, unwind, refresh. And then come over to the USA, long flight, bit of jet flag, 2 weeks here. I fly home. There was supposed to be a couple of days, but the dates got changed. So basically I fly home, get about 6 hours to sleep, have a shower, etc., and then jump straight on the big metal tube off to Australia to do some testing.
I know you've raced with Earl Bamber before, Earl Bamber Racing before, but that's a championship, a very prestigious championship. Got to be looking forward to that as well. Yeah,
it's a huge championship. The Carrera Cup in Australia is regarded as one of the highest levels of Porsche racing there is. It's one of the best Carrera Cup championships there is, basically behind Super Cup. They always credit it as being very competitive. 2 of their drivers from Carrera Cup Australia have gone on to become Porsche juniors through the shootout. So it's a very difficult championship. I'm going to be working hard to try my best.
Thanks, Callum. Well, we're under caution here. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with the action as it resumes very soon.
The Mission Foods Atlanta Speed Tour returns to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta March 24th through the 26th, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Sportscar Vintage Racing Association International GT. Saturday, take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Laps. You do not want to miss the Mission Foods Atlanta Speed Tour, March 24th through the 26th.
Thank you for coming up.
Ticket discounts and camping is available. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
You're in for the race, son.
I was going to say,
welcome back. Here we go, and we are still under caution as we go through the final complex here. What you're looking down at right now from the drone is one of the major overtaking positions here. And Callum, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but this is the obvious place to overtake. But it's bumpy going in here as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a very large bump on the braking zone, so it's actually quite difficult to judge where you are, especially with your brake marker. You've got to actually accelerate past the bump before you can brake, otherwise you end up locking tyres. So for me, it's quite difficult to pass there, but I think we'll see a little bit these guys using the slipstream up along the front straight here, and I think the front straight will also have a bit of action.
So we are under caution here, as you can see them weaving from side to side, just trying to keep temperature in the tyres. It is quite warm. It's humid here in New Orleans. Always hot here down in the Big Easy. But that doesn't mean that the temperature of the tyres, I was learning a little bit about tyres yesterday, and obviously the weaving is fine if you want to get temperature to the outside of the tyre, but you actually want the inner part of the tyre to be hot, and so the heat comes out. So that's why they're doing all this pushing. Now, it was Logan Adams, Chris Parrish, who are both out of the race. That's car number 20 and car number 83, who we saw in that accident. Both drivers out, as you saw, and having probably an interesting discussion on the way back.
Yeah, I can imagine there was possibly some stern words, or just a quick, "Are you all right, mate? Sorry about that."
So have you had any chance to meet any of the Crosslink QE F4 boys?
Yeah, we did a day at Crescent, which is their home track.
Yeah.
And the young Aussie Jesse, he comes over to the.
Is it Jesse then?
Well, I call him Jessica to annoy him, but
okay, good. Yeah.
He's always coming over, trying to wind us up. But yeah, he's a good lad, and he's doing a very good job. Same with all the other guys.
I still haven't found your American race name yet, but my mate Ben here is great at that sort of stuff. So he'll come up with a good old boy NASCAR name for you, because you've got to have an American race name.
Well,
Willie T. Ribs. I mean, that's a great Wally Dollenbach, you know?
Wally Dollenbach. What a name.
That's not. Exactly. That's a Trans Am champion right there. So Ben, have you got any ideas sort of off the cuff?
No, I'm going to have to spend the afternoon. We'll think about it. But, we've had some great names. Dick Trickle, for instance.
I mentioned him yesterday.
That's car name, yeah. So I've heard reports from Race Control, possibly Carl Bennett was passed by 2 cars under yellow. So I think Race Control's going through that. But I believe we're coming back to green because the lights are off, Jonathan. So
Yep.
we're about to get excited again.
Oh, you know it. Carl Bennett, of course, the Thai American, grew up both in Thailand and in the US of A, and got his first ever F4 win. He did a season last year, but yesterday was his first win and his first podium in the series. So we wish him luck, and that could move him up the board if Ben's what he heard was correct. Very hazy here this morning, but off comes the pace car, and we're going to go racing again, and it is Lockhart who will lead them to the green, and he is in control of this race in the 48. Jimmy Lockhart, there he is in the all black on the right hand side of your screen. They have to stay there until the line, then they get to spread out, and away they go. Good start from the 19 Costello. And also going to the inside is the 6 of Mosman. He was a feature yesterday as well, and just bopping out there. Here comes Jesse Lacey into second place there, the Aussie. Good start, good restart, and everybody funneling through. Down towards the Bridge Hall Bennett's corner, turn 3. That's a much better start, or a much better restart anyway. And Lockhart leading the way at the moment. Woods Toff is one to watch. He came from the Radford Karts to Cars school or scholarship, and he's a Canadian coming here for the first time, and we're looking for big things from him. He's just ahead of Costello, Mosman, Huano. It's a Hawaiian name, I'm told, Huano, KK Huano, and he is in 6th position, just ahead of Bennett, Hodgson, Daniel Cara, a Brazilian-American in 9th, and then Sherlock, who was right at the sharp end, vying for the win yesterday. Titus Sherlock in 10th position ahead of Kleck. Wisniewski, who of course did the development program this time last year, not old enough to race in F4, and he now is a fully fledged member of the F4 fraternity, and away he goes. Just behind him, Alex Berg in his 2nd season, or returning season for F4. Callum, it doesn't seem like they mind to go wheel to wheel. How comfortable are you when you're really at that close quarters? Or because you know that they're pretty much the same level as you, do you trust what you're up against?
For me, it's a little bit different racing in the single-seater. Normally, I have a door and a bit of a roof around me, yeah, exactly. So normally you got to meet a couple of meters that way and a couple of meters the other side as well. So it's getting a bit of an understanding for me of just how close you actually can, because you can see the side of your car and you can see the side of theirs. So you can push it up to a limit, basically up until your interlocking wheels, really. But contact is obviously a no-go on a car like this. So you can get very close, lean on each other, but you've got to give a lot of respect so you don't come together.
Well, you make an interesting point as well, because for all of you guys starting out in single-seaters, especially these guys out here, this is their first run. You go from karts to slicks and wings, and there is a modicum of downforce. They are mini Formula 1 cars after all, but obviously not the same kind of downforce that you get at that level. But where do you feel it, behind or side by side as well?
In terms of like aero wash?
Aero wash.
Yeah, for me, when we were racing in New Zealand, the start of the series at Highlands, there was a couple of corners where initially I was just lifting off and braking, and that's what I would normally do, and then it felt like I was losing a little bit of grip. So then the next lap, all I did was just keep my foot flat, and you can actually feel the downforce push the car into the ground and go through the corner. For me, that's pretty unreal to get that feeling.
Yeah, I heard a lot of times it's a case of trust. We've got some good racing going on here. 2 cars on the grass for a moment. And we've just heard that both Nico Abiado and Luciano Martinez made contact at turn 4, but both are continuing. So there's a lot of action. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's a trust with the downforce. You don't even, if you've not driven downforce, it almost helps you stick to the ground and therefore have more grip. But you've got to know where it is, and you've got to trust it, and you've got to kind of feel it or experience it before you trust it.
Yeah, it's hard to get your head around it. At the start, I wasn't fully trusting of it, but now as I get my head around how to use downforce, how to drive with it, and how to race with it as well, because once you get up behind a car, it's you lose all the downforce on your fronts. So you've got to understand how to find a different line to make sure you get any form of air on your front wing.
So we are getting down to the business end. Look at this side-by-side racing, and that's exactly what we've just been discussing, which is racing at close quarters, but being comfortable enough to do that And as we come down to the business end of this, we're watching Bennett, who won the first race. He's not going to win this one. He's way down at the moment in, 7th place at the moment. But Lockhart, Jimmy Lockhart, is doing a superb job. He's got a 1.2 second lead now at the front of this race. As we look at Mosman again, another one of the Jay Howard development drivers. Speaking to Jay Howard this morning, good to see him here. Great team manager, turned from IndyCar racing, the Englishman, into the Howard development team, and has been running junior series for the last few years. So it looks like it's going to be a run between Lockhart, Lacey and Costello. And it's anybody's race in the midfield. Another good run by Greenmeyer. She was the girl I spoke to, the 20-year-old Greenmeyer, Hannah Greenmeyer. She's come from Colorado, and she was one of the SCUSA, or the first females to win in SCUSA Pro level. And she's literally come out for the first time here to Slicks and Wings. She got a 12th yesterday, and she's on for a 13th today. And that's high praise, because it's no easy feat to jump straight into this championship. But here you see the gap for first, second, and third. And, well, you mentioned Lacey. Can he do it? Can he get up there? What would he have to do? He's taken the gap, Callum, down to a second, but he's running out of time.
Yeah, he's got 3 minutes and 22 seconds to catch and make a move. So if he's faster than what's his name, Jimmy or Lockhart?
Jimmy Lockhart, yeah.
Jimmy, I believe he's gonna be looking where he's weak, where Jesse's faster, and he's gonna be pushing pretty hard to try and make that move. He hasn't got long left. The guys on the radio will be telling him, so he's gonna have to push hard and see if he can make that move.
There is Bennett again. He's got Daniel Cara just ahead of him as well. Cara and Sherlock, who featured heavily in the first race. Sherlock not going to get on the podium this time. There's Daniel Cara. He's got a Brazilian and American flag, so it's always good when we have a young Brazilians, and we've had many come through the F4 ranks. This is a good place for South Americans and Mexicans to come up here to America. I was talking to Manuel Rosa yesterday from Mexico City, who's in FR against Callum, and he said that, you know, there is an F4 series in Mexico, but anywhere really in South America, you need to get to North America as soon as you can, because if you want your career to keep going and not stumble over, then you need to keep going and doing single-seaters, and F4 and FR are the perfect place to be as we set off our season. So this will be the white flag, I think. Maybe they'll get to it. No white flag this time. Interesting. Lockhart then with another lap to do it, and Lacey with another chance, and Costello coming into play potentially in third place. There he is in the 19. So we're getting a little bit closer together. That shot, though, belies the actual angle, because we're so far away from that turn that sometimes when they're coming towards you like that, they look closer than they actually are to each other. But this is good stuff. Woods Tough as well, the Canadian, coming into play in fourth place. Hodgson now looking to get close. The gap from Lockhart to Lacey down to 0.8. That's impressive. He's taken 4/10 out of him in the last lap. Meanwhile, the 0.8. That's Alex Berg. His father was a Formula One driver. I'm sure he hates to be reminded of that, because everybody immediately clicks onto that. Only briefly, mind. But it's still a great accolade. Good to see, talking of Formula One, the likes of Roberto Moreno, talking of Brazilians here. He works with the Crosslink Kiwi team, a bit of a legend. I don't know if you've met him yet.
Yeah, he's up in the engineering room. He's always barking up. He's always got something today to say. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's been in the sport a long time. He's been through a lot of different eras, so it's very cool to lean on guys like them for information.
Yeah, I had Alonso Jr. here, who has also played a big part in some of the F4 careers along the way, two-time Indy 500 winner. So you never know who you're going to meet in this paddock. And there's some pretty big names that have been there, done that, and got the T-shirt, so to speak. Boy, look at this battle through the complex here. You wouldn't think there was overtaking. Here's the white flag then. And Lockhart has led this whole race, but will he hold on? Lacey, though, now under pressure from Costello and Woods Top as they all try to go line astern, get that slipstream if they can, then bop out at the end of the corner and try to make it up the inside, and that's exactly what Costello is trying to do. He's had the door shut, though, by Lacey. Great racing between the pair of them, and out of it all, Woods Top has joined the battle. Well, this is exactly like yesterday, and Callum, that's the way to go. You watch somebody else battle and you go, all right, I'll watch you two, and then I'll have a go myself.
Yeah, Patrick's obviously had his eyes up. He's been looking at the road in front, and he's seen the two cars ahead battling, coming into some close quarters side-by-side racing, and he's managed to capitalise and make a place up in the podium positions there. So very good driving by him.
Yeah, well, we're under less than a lap to go, but it's far from over, although Lockhart has pulled the pin a little bit. We're watching this battle for second, third, and fourth, and in the middle of that battle is Woods Top from Canada. 16 is Lacey. He's lost a little bit of the ground now, has Lacey, to the leader Lockhart. So Jimmy Lockhart should pick this up and win this race if he continues at the front as he is at the moment. That will be another good win for him. Making his debut, Jimmy Lockhart, this weekend, and just like Carl Bennett, will be very pleased with his performance. One more race to go from F4 after this. You've been listening to Ben Sissel and Callum Hedge. Callum will be in action in the number 17 in FR Americas later today, so cheer him on. And there's the checkered flag, and it is Jimmy Lockhart who wins by just over a second over Jesse Lacey of Australia. Michael Costello is third, Woods Top of Canada fourth, Hodson fifth, Mosman, Cara, Sherlock eighth, Bennett, yesterday's winner, in ninth, and Alex Berg rounds out the top 10. So a good eclectic group at the front of this battle, and a good international field as we'd expect. Formula 4 America's all about bringing young Americans, but also trying to bring competition like Callum Hedge and entice them to come to this championship so they can really gauge just how and where they are on the international scene, because it's no good just racing against your own countrymen. You need to put yourself and pit yourself against the very best in the world, and that's what we're trying to do here in F4 Americas and in FR Americas. But let's just have confirmation. Jimmy Lockhart for Velocity Racing Development gets the win. Jesse Lacey for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport is second. Likewise, Woods Top of Crosslink is third. Michael Costello, the first of the J. Howard Driver Development drivers, is fourth. Then it's Lewis Hodson, Frankie Mosman, Cara, Sherlock, Bennett, Alex Berg. We'll take a short break. My thanks to Callum Hedge. Watch out for the number 17. He'll be in action very soon. My thanks to Ben Sissel. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back from NOLA after this.
There's a challenging spirit within Honda. It gives us the courage to go faster and the thinking to make it real. Whether it looks like a truck, a sedan, or an SUV, inside is the heart of a race car.